Cast is now starting. All attendees.
Okay, good evening to everyone. So let's go to start with a introduction of what we will do during this more or less hour that we will share. Super important. I always ask, please participate during the webinar, make questions, share your opinion, because it's the best way for everyone to learn and to solve all the doubts that we will try to solve during this hour. Okay, super important. Make questions, send me your opinion. You have the chat option at the bottom of the app, so you can text there. And I have in one of the screens in my laptop, I can see all the comments that you are sending. Okay, let's go to the presentation mode. Okay. What is the idea of today? We had last week the webinar in Spanish. We did something like this with this storyline that we created. We will start first with an introduction, then we will jump to economic calendar for this week. It's a very important week because of the event that we will have, especially on Friday, and we will deep dive a little more in what we could expect with the NFP and unemployment rate. Okay, but let's go to start with that point. Then we will jump to instrument analysis, and we will review the pound, the euro, Bitcoin, the S&P, and the gold. If you have a specific question of any instrument, you can send it through the chat. It's perfectly fine. So we can jump to the instrument that you will ask. It's okay. Last week they asked, most of the people was here from Europe. They were asking for the DAX, so we review DAX. So please feel free to text what do you want to see. If you have any questions, you want to review a strategy, if you have a position open and you don't know what to do. So let's go to share that and let's analyze and review what is happening. And finally, we will check what were the last 2 months performance of Bumblebee. Is an artificial intelligence that we have working at this moment, our first commercial artificial intelligence. And already we will review what did in the last 2 months, where is operating, what was the performance, what is the statistics for this artificial intelligence. Okay, do you agree with this? Let's go to move to the first slide. So introduction, what is the financial forecast? So the financial forecast is a company that is specialized in education for people that want to invest, and we develop solutions, in this case artificial intelligence algorithms, specifically for investment field, something that help you to invest, to make your savings grow. Okay, so we are specialized in these two areas, education and development of tools, in this case artificial intelligence. We were in this for more than 10 years already. With the name of the financial forecast, is being a little more than a year now, and we manage one portfolio in a semi-automatic way. Yes, we have some algorithm working there, plus the intervention of people. Yes, it's a combined portfolio, and then we have a portfolio that is 100% now managed by the Bumblebee. In what we support our idea. So we believe that the market follows all the time a fractal pattern. We spend a lot of years studying these fractals. In each instrument is a little different, but the essence of this fractal is the same in most of the financial instruments. And this fractal is something that is repeated over time in different scales. Okay, that's why we can talk about the fractal. For example, let's go to talk about the Bitcoin. And if we don't have the time frame in the graphic that we are seeing, it's difficult to say what is the time frame for that chart. Okay, because they are similar in different scale. So the movement in 1 minute will be similar to the movement in 5, and will be similar to the movement an hour, and so on. Yeah, it's very important to have this idea very clear. And what is reflecting this fractal pattern? So we are talking about a social mood. Okay, so it's all the mass of investors buying and selling, investing in these instruments. And a lot of sentiment and emotions involved in this social mood that always moves within the group. And this is quite nice, especially now. If we think only in the S&P, the S&P is dropping massively these last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. Why? Because this mass of investor is afraid of what will happen with the conflict between the US and China. And that is driving the most of the sell-off in these instruments. And it's not the first time that it's happening with the S&P. We'll see during this webinar in other moments that we have a similar reaction of this mass of investors reflecting this social mood. Okay, important to have this idea clear, and all our artificial intelligence, all our tools are based in this idea. Okay, that's me. So with the speaker, maybe it's the first time that you see me, maybe there's someone that know me from before. So I have a master in financial markets and asset management. I've been working with a very important company developing forecasts and analysis for different instruments in the Spanish side. So I am from Argentina, but now I live in the Netherlands. So I was taking care of the Spanish side of this big company, and I developed one algorithm. One of the algorithms that we have is a dynamic multifractal model. That is the one that we use in this portfolio that is managed. It's semi-automatic. It's half-half. Part of the information is getting from this algorithm. Part is filtered by us. No, I'm not a trader. It's asking for a trade. No, I don't like to define myself as trader. I like to define myself as an investor, and I will say why. Because nowadays the word trader is associated, especially in the market, and if you move within the world of the brokers, trader is associated to gambling, and that's something that I really don't like. So that's why I don't like to call myself or to call the financial forecast as a trader or trading company. Yes, we're focusing in investing, and we support and create tools for investors to invest. Okay, that is a big difference. Why? And that's what I don't like about at this moment in the industry that is happening. They are moving this activity with the trader name into the gambling field, and that really is not nice. Okay, I don't feel myself as a gambler. I don't feel you as a gambler. Okay, that's why not trader. Yes, investor. In which country I am investing is Neil asking. So I am sitting in the Netherlands. Yes, so I am in Europe at this moment. So everything I have is seated here in Europe. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue moving. Thank you for the questions. So let's go to start with the. Neil, you can call me Matias. It's okay. Thank you for sir, but you can call me Matias. Yeah, no problem for that. Let's go to start with the economic calendar. So we were talking about before that this week is very important week. Why? One May event happening on Friday and another May event happening on Wednesday. If we take a look to the weight of these events, Friday will take all the weight practically for this week. So we will highlight in this case here the service PMI for UK. Why? Because it's the most important PMI of all the three that we have this week. So we have manufacturing, we have construction, and we will have services on Wednesday. That is the biggest piece of the GDP in the UK. And that's important to see the evolution, especially with the uncertainty surrounding the Brexit. Okay, so that's why we need to keep a close eye to this indicator on one side, that they expect a flat of 48.6. The previous one was exactly the same number. And on Friday, here's when the fun will come. Non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate, okay, for the US. Expected 180K new employees, and 3.6 is a flat unemployment rate in the US. 3.6 is a very low ratio, really good. And let's see what happened with the NFP. Something important for you to keep in mind if you want to have like a previous information of what could happen with the NFP, we have the ADP. Okay, the ADP on Wednesday is like an anticipation of what will happen in the NFP. Okay, on Friday. Could give you an idea, especially if the difference between the forecast and the actual is big. Always try to take a look to that. What is the difference between the expected, what the consensus is saying, in this case 140, and what is the actual? Okay. Okay, how is asking, what do you expect market? So what do you mean with that exactly, Xiao? So we are talking about now about the American market. Yeah, consensus is what all the experts are expecting for this KPI. Okay, for this indicator. That means that all the people that is studying this, they agree, all the experts agree that the most probable number for this KPI will be 140. Okay, that is consensus. And the market, we are talking about the American market, but it will affect the global market in general. And we will see in the next slide why. Okay? Any question here? All clear? Good, so we move to the next one. Okay, here. And here we have can good numbers outweigh the trade deal drama? It's a very good question. Not always a good number reflects in the way that we expect. Okay, it's very important to see what's happening in the full picture to understand what happened with the numbers. Why? Because we saw in some cases the American, the Fed increasing the interest rate, but what happened, instead of the dollar increasing the value, decrease the value. Okay, what did exactly the opposite that everybody was expecting, or what the logic is saying. Why? Because there were another things influencing the big picture. Okay, but it's a good question. Okay, so we will see that now. I want you to pay attention to this first graphic here. There is a correlation between the Dow Jones and the unemployment rate in the US. And what do you see in this graphic? This is super important to understand because it could be a great indicator of what is coming in the American economy and in the end in the global economy. Okay, so if you can see what is the relationship between the unemployment rate and the Dow Jones, you can chat, you can text there. All the ones that are texting, do you have an idea of what is happening here between the unemployment and the Dow Jones? Okay, I will give a little of time for you to text an answer. All the answers are valid. Okay, there is not right or wrong. It's good to have the point of view. And before answering that question, let's go to the PMI service for the UK, and we can see a nice decline. Okay, in the PMI services. So they expected flat, so the same level. So we will be seeing this movement in the KPI. Okay, but it's declining since the Brexit. So that means that the service market at this moment is not at its best. Okay, and that could affect the economy in the UK, could affect the pound. Okay, could affect in the end the FTSE and everything that is there. And this uncertainty with the Brexit at this moment is not good for this indicator. That's why we are seeing this decline. So let's see what's happening on Wednesday. If it's flat, it's okay. If not, maybe we should be seeing a continuation of this decline. That should be, in this case, more worried if we continue seeing the decline and the UK government is not able to start changing this mood. Okay, nobody's answering what's happening with the unemployment and Dow Jones. Okay, I will give you the answer. Okay, we're talking about correlation. The correlation is how can you explain one instrument, in this case, what the time series of the Dow Jones, how we can explain with another instrument that in this case is the gold. The correlation is very high. Yes, I don't have in my mind exactly the correlation number, but it's a high correlation. Why? Because every time that the unemployment rate drops, the Dow Jones increase. So Neil is saying, so more negative impact on the GBP, or is already priced in? No, we can have an impact. Yeah, we will check what will happen in the long term with the pound and in the short term. But yes, this is not good for the UK economy, especially with the uncertainty around Brexit. Why? Because investors really, they don't know what will happen, how Brexit in the end will affect UK economy. Yeah, but then that's the point. Yeah. So we see the gold moving down, the Dow Jones moving up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, it's a negative correlation. When the Dow Jones going up, the gold goes downwards. And if we see at this moment the unemployment rate in the US is in a historic low and has been in this historic low for now a long time. The question is what the history is telling us for how long this good rate in the unemployment rate can last. Okay, and we see the bottom could last some months. Okay, that we already are building that base. If we think we are at this moment at the end of the year, yeah, if we review history, December used to be a moment for peaks or for bottoms. In this case, the S&P, the Dow Jones, they were creating tops during this month. And now we're seeing a massive change, a big decline, because it's uncertainty around China. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the unemployment rate, because at the moment that the American economy switch and a potential crash is starting, we will see the switch between the unemployment rate and the Dow Jones or the S&P. That means that the unemployment rate will start showing higher numbers, and at the same time we will see the stock market declining. Okay, that's why it's so important from now on pay special attention to what's happening with the unemployment rate in the US, especially now that we are seeing this important drop in the S&P. We don't know if it's a short reaction, and maybe next month or next year we start seeing new highs, new historic highs in the indices. But that's why we need this extra clue, this extra hint of what could happen with the American economy. Is that clear? Yes, very important. If we start seeing a higher number than expected, so we are expecting 3.6% unemployment rate in the US. If we see that the numbers now start deviating to this forecast and are higher, 3.8, 4, that is the first signal of a reversal in this economic cycle. Okay? Good. Any question about this? And I will show you in the next slide how the market used to react when this the actual is far different from the budget, yeah, from the forecast. Okay, so we can see here a big reaction in the non-farm payroll and the unemployment rate. Okay, the numbers were the number here really surprised the investor mass, and there we have a reaction, a massive decline, really fast. Okay, these are 4 hours periods. So in 8 hours we had a big decline. In this case, this is a pound dollar. Okay, I will mark it here. We have this big decline here in the pound dollar after the NFP and the unemployment rate. Yeah, so that's why it's a very important indicator, because it brings a lot of volatility to the market. Okay, good. So we have that there. So where I took this graphic from the book Helio Wave, the Fractal Behavior of Financial Markets. I wrote that book 3 years ago. Is at this moment in Spanish. It's called, if some of you speak Spanish, Las ondas de Elliot, el comportamiento fractal de los mercados financieros. But will come soon in English. Yeah, Helio Wave, the Fractal Behavior of Financial Markets. Next slide. Okay, we will jump to instrument analysis. So in this case, if you have a special, you want that I analyze special instrument for you, just let me know. Just drop it there in the chat box, and I will keep in the analysis. Okay, so let's go to the platform now. Just open the platform. 1 second. Okay, Regan Jasmine is asking, please show how to use Fibonacci correctly. Okay, it's a nice question, especially because we hear about Fibonacci in all the places. Everybody shows that the Fibonacci retracement or Fibonacci extension is like the magic tool for investing. Yeah, it's a very important tool, but not for placing a retracement or a projection. Especially most of the people use retracement, but not because the price is in 0.5% retracement. That means that you can buy. Okay, because the price action will bounce from there, and you will get the next movement upward. And that's a big risk. Okay, you need to keep a lot of other factors in mind. Yeah, but it's a very good question. We will try to solve that question. And in any case, if you need support, you want to learn a little more, you can contact me in the email. Okay, we offer mentorship. We are specialized in education, so we can support you with that. If you want to continue your education or improve your knowledge about Fibonacci, how to use it correctly, it's perfectly fine. You can drop me an email and we can go through it. Okay, cool. Platform here. Okay, let's go to start then with the pound. Is okay for you? Okay, perfect. Roxanne is okay. You're sending the email. You can. I will show the email now, because now you're asking. So the email is info@thefinancialforecast.com. You can drop me an email there. Yeah, I will try to solve all the questions that you have. If you want to improve all that is knowledge about investing, you can just read me out there, and I will support you, and I will tell you what the mentorship is offering. So that's perfectly fine. Yeah, info@thefinancialforecast.com, and I will take note of the email that you send me here. Okay. So let's go to the platform. Let's go to start with the pound. It's okay. If you want to move to another instrument, you can let me know, okay? So we will start with the long term. I like to start always with the long term. Why? Because we're talking about a fractal. Yes. And different degrees of trend. Because is Roxanne mentorship teach all financial market analysis? Yeah, exactly. From technical, fractal, and macroeconomics. Yes, we review all the content. Yeah, exactly. So why I like to start, because we're talking about a fractal. So we are seeing different degrees of trend. So for example, in the pound, if we see this monthly graphic, we can say, no, the trend in the pound at this moment is a downtrend. Why? Because I see a max here, I see a low here. Okay, we can say yes. We have another way of analysis through the algorithm that we have. But yeah, we can say, yeah, it's a downtrend. But maybe we move to the weekly. We can say, and the trend here is a downtrend, it's an uptrend. Here we can say, no, I can say it's sideways based on the graphic. If we move to daily, here I can say, no, it's an uptrend. So that's why it's super important. There is not one unique trend. The trend depends of the point of view of the investor. If the investor sit in the monthly time frame, the trend will be different probably if you sit in another point of view. That could be the daily. Yeah, we can see consolidation. When you have the sideways movements, that is called consolidation too. Okay, what do we see in this long term, in the monthly? So we have at this moment one sequence to the downside. All the sequence, the active sequence are shown with the orange line. Yes, that is an easy translation of what the algorithm think. Okay, so for you to understand what's happening, we translate all the algorithm, all the numbers in these sequences. Okay, we have one sequence to the downside and a movement to the upside. This movement to the upside could be a correction of the previous movement. So that means that this small movement here could be the corrective movement of the previous movement to the downside. It's okay? Sorry. But we are not 100% sure about this now. What should be happening in this case for this movement, the current movement to the upside, being a corrective movement of the previous one? And what that means, okay? Ideally, what should be happening, there is always a connection between the movements in time, speed, and length. Yes, most of the things that you can find there in internet or analysis are only based on length, but that is not the total view of this. All the movements are connected, and there is a time for each movement. At least a thing happens at a certain time with certain speed in a certain length, then the chances of the pattern increase. Yes, in this case, we are talking about a pattern of 3 movements to the downside. Yeah, that is a basic pattern. For this pattern being true or being with a high probability of occurrence, what we need to see in this case is the price creating a high inside this area, this blue rectangle, but inside these lines. And not only we need to see the high there, we need to see a change, a reaction to the downside. Okay, we need to see this movement too. And what that the situations, two movements happen, then we have a high probability of happening this. Another movement to the downside that is confirmed with the break of this key level. So then the probabilities are extremely high. Yes, so that is when we get the confirmation of a new lows. Okay, it's clear? If not, you will find a video in our website too on how to read this kind of graphics. Okay, so, but what is happening with the trend? we can say that the trend is, I see that Neil was saying consolidation. Yeah, it could be. I said at the beginning it's a downtrend. Yeah, it could be. But for that, what is a blue box? Ask Roxanne. Blue box is what we call a tractor. Yes, a tractor is a word that is used in fractals. That means the prices in every instrument move from a tractor to a tractor all the time, from this area where the price goes, and when the price reaches that area, the price is rejected to another one. Reach that area, and the price is rejected again, up or down to the next one, and so on. Always you will see that the instrument will move from one box to the other box. Always. And build this way, they build the pattern. No, it's not a support resistance. It's not support and resistance in this case. Support resistance is a different concept, and in this case, you can find all the resistance. I will point it in here. So in this graphic, you will find this is a resistance, this is a resistance, this, okay, this is a resistance. Support is the opposite. Support, 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 support. Yeah, a tractor is an area that is limited in length, time, and speed, where the prices tend to go. And once the prices reach that area, will be rejected to the next one. Yeah. If not, we will continue with this concept and idea. Yeah. The question is from Neil is consolidation till elections. It's a good question. I don't think till elections, but yes, till solve of this issue with China. I think that is the main concern at this moment with the investor mass. Now, if that is solved, then yes, when the election will come close, the main concern will be, okay, what will happen? Trump will continue, Trump won't continue, because I will change probably all the politics and how the economy is now driven. Yeah, and that could affect, yeah, of course. And in UK too. Yeah, but especially what people really is what you can see in the news mainly, and how the pound US dollar react is mainly regarding the Brexit news. If we have a Brexit, if the uncertainty with the Brexit increase or reduce, that's really what is driving this sentiment at this moment in the pound. Not so much the elections, but yes, what will happen with the Brexit? Yeah, a lot of companies, a lot of money is spending on that. Okay, cool. So we will move now to the website, and we will move to the account area, to the members area, because I will show you something. So we will try to solve the question of what is the trend in each time frame. We go to instruments, and then Forex, and pound. Okay, pound monthly. We have it here in long term, pound monthly. And we can see here that the overall trend at this moment in this time frame, in the monthly time frame for the pound, is to the downside. Okay, it's a downtrend. Why? Despite the fact that we have a persistence, that this persistence is a concept of saying how the past movements are impacting in the future movements. Okay? How will impact what happened yesterday to what will happen today and tomorrow? That is persistence. We have 60% persistence to the upside. That means that in this case, only in this area, okay, we can identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different buckets, and what the algorithm is saying that is good for trading. So yeah, it's not that it will go up, but that means that how the movements to the upside. So the movement to the upside will be stronger in how they will build up the future movement in a 60%. That in this case to the downside is 30%. Okay, But that is not the only piece of the trend. We are only talking about persistence in this case, because when we move to statistics, we have that the speed is negative. We have that the minimum is higher than the maximum in absolute value. We have that the highest minimum, the absolute value is higher than the movement to the upside. That the mean of all the movements of one big cycle that we are taking is negative. So all this, what is saying this area of the analysis is saying no, bears in this case are much more stronger than bulls. Okay. If we go to correlation, correlation is different. So I will explain later why we have the correlation and what is useful for you seeing the correlation. When we see the spectrum, and this is something really nice, you can see that practically the spectrum is symmetric. This is how the movement vibes. Yes. In a very big cycle, we take that pictures and we see that always tends to balance. Yes, we have practically the same shape and the same amount of dots in the upper side than in the downside. Okay, but in this case we have a small deviation to the downside that is called out here. And then we go to the speed cycle, to the speed. Okay, the speed of these cycles that we have in orange plus other cycles, and we can see that the speed is slightly negative, and expected, that is the color line, is staying there in the negative area, slightly negative. So all this, what is saying is, okay, despite the fact we have 60% persistence, all the other indicators that we use to define the global trend, the overall trend, are showing that the bears are stronger. So that's why at this moment we have in the monthly time frame overall trend to the downside. Okay, is clear? Now I will move much faster if this concept is clear in the graphics and with the dashboard. Okay, this is super interesting. This is one piece of our algorithm that is telling us, okay, this is the real trend, or the high probability trend. So, and this drives in the end how will you invest. Why? Because we always want to invest in the same direction of the trend. In this case, is to the downside. Here for the monthly time frame. Okay, good. Okay, this is clear. Let's go to move to the graphics. Yeah, this is all the graphic that you see, all the dashboard that you see were updated yesterday night, close to the close of the New York session, because we do all the time the same, so they get automatically updated with every close. Okay, so yeah, it's fresh information. It's everything that you see here is current state, and we will analyze everything live. Yeah, that's the best way always. The idea is try to help you to build knowledge within you, me. Okay, so we can move forward. Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, that we see that the key level was already broken, 1.2953, so we are having movements to the upside. We didn't have this deep correction, so that this meaning that this big cycle wasn't corrected, but yes, the small cycle that we will see in the daily time frame. And now, as we broke this key level, we are moving to the first attractor. Okay, so the first blue box that is here. Then the prices will be rejected, or to the downside, probably correcting the big cycle, or will continue moving to the next attractor. Okay, important that to understand. If we see the fractal dimension is represented with this red line, is moving downward, sorry, and this is showing that we are having memory impact in the current movement. So that means that the trend is the same as the movement that we are having now. In this case, for this period of time, that 1 week is to the upside. This based on this indicator, okay? Let's go to the daily. In the daily, we had a reaction to the upside too, so we broke this level in 1.2954. It's the same level that we saw at the weekly time frame. We are moving to the upside. We are seeing this fractal dimension started showing the trend. Yes, memory impact. And we have an extreme stochastic, and the MAC at this moment will show a divergence. This could be like maybe the last movement of this big cycle. So what's happening with the trend? So we need to go to the dashboard. Forex daily pound. Okay, so we had our algorithm recommended a buy. This was already shooted in 1.2945. Why? Because the trend is to the up, is an upward trend. With the first take in 130.39 for this time frame and 134.69 the second take profit. Okay, you can place as much as take profit as you want. How to draw the fractal? The range is estimated. Yeah, this is the fractal is a big algorithm that is calculating all this. So what we are doing is in a simple way translate this in an easy way to read in a chart. Yeah, that is what you see there in the graphic in the platform. Yeah, in MetaTrader. But yeah, the fractal is it's more complex to draw and calculate. Yeah, but you have the graphic always explaining you what will happen. Now in this case is this. We had the correction, we reached the blue area. Yes. We had another minimum very close within the time expected. And when this minimum happened, then we had the reaction to the upside and we broke this key level 1.2954. Everything should be continue developing as this way, and we should be reaching at least the first attractor that is placed in 1.3081 and 1.3268. This always is we continue developing movements to the upside. Okay, keep in mind this, the MAC that could create a divergence once the price reach the attractor. Yeah, that is important because if we reach the attractor, we create the divergence, then the chances to change the direction and make a corrective sequence increase. Yeah, and you can take partial profit every time that the price reach the attractor. At the intraday, the same, we broke this level in 1.2945. We reached the first attractor in this case. Price action is there. There is not symptom at this moment of a corrective sequence, so that means that the prices could continue moving out the attractor and reach the second one. If we have the reverse movement and break a specific level that we will highlight with the updates in these graphics, then that means that this movement to the upside, this sequence is finished and we are inside a corrective sequence. That level will be approximately 1.29. Yes, 29.10. If we have a break of that level, what will happen is that the sequence, this movement to the upside, is finished and we are in a corrective sequence of the previous movement. Yes, of the same wave, of the wave of same degree. And if we don't create a new high, so we are correcting a higher degree. Always this moves this way, from the small degree to the higher degree, always. Yeah, that's how the algorithm analyzes this. Okay, perfect. Question with the pound. So now we are developing a movement to the upside. Let's go to review the last dashboard for the pound intra. There's a question from Roxanne. So this fractal is created by a system. Yeah, it's created by an algorithm. Yes, the algorithm tells us what are the sequences, what are the areas we need to inspect, and what we do manually is just place this in the MetaTrader platform, so you can see too that you can use MetaTrader platform easily to invest in any market. Yeah, because you have the tools that you need. But we are translating all the numbers, all the information that we get from the system, from the algorithm, and we translate that into MetaTrader. Yeah, we do like a kind of copy paste for you to understand. Intraday, the trend is to the upside. We have the entry point 1.2945 with the first take profit in 1.2970. You have the stop loss too, and 130.69. So what is nice of this? That you can like create your strategy for the transaction for this operation as you wish. So you can start from the short terms, lower degrees, in this case 4 hours, and then move and set different targets depending on how do you want to reach it, daily, weekly, and so on. So in this case, we enter in at this level 1.2945. We always used to enter when in the 4 hours, and then we set different targets. We can have maybe 4 different kind of take profits during the way, during the journey of the movement, and we got the first one in 1.2970 today. Yeah, so the operation is still open and it's running till this next take profit. We won't close this operation because we have an uptrend in daily and weekly, so we will keep this running and taking partial profit during the journey. Okay. Okay, clear. Do you want to see any instrument? Just text it there in the chat box because we have less than 10 minutes. Do you have any preference? Times really flies, so it's crazy. So let's go to move to the next one. Let's go to S&P. So we saw the pound. We have an event happening on Wednesday. Let's go to the S&P. So S&P is crazy how it's dropping at this moment. In the long term, so we reached this attractor. Okay, price reached this area, and it's not a coincidence that we are having corrections here. Why? Because this social mood reacts every time the prices reach an attractor. Okay, so we're having this movement to the downside, but still the uptrend of the sequence could continue. Yes, but we are having here a first reversal on the movement. So what's happening in a weekly time frame? We complete this 3 waves sequence, 1, 2, and 3, and prices are being rejected from the attractor to the downside. Okay, but we will close this sequence. We will say that this sequence is complete at the moment that this level is broken. Yeah, in the meantime, we need to go to lower time frames to get an earlier confirmation. Okay, daily, same, small degree, 3 sequence, price reached the attractor, wasn't able to move outside, and now is correcting. And in 4 hours, we have all this break, and if you see here, this is quite nice to see because prices created a low here outside the blue area and outside the ideal distribution for time and speed, reducing the chances then to a bounce and see movement to the upside. This key level was broken, 3,106, confirming that this sequence is done and we have a new downtrend, a new sequence to the downside. That's what is happening now. So that means that probably we are correcting at least now the higher degree of trend in the S&P. Okay, movement is quite violent at this moment, and that match what we see in higher time frames. In all these cases, the attractor was reached, was an overlap of attractors in different time frames, making that area even stronger, and the reaction will be with that degree of importance. So let's go to the dashboards. what's happening with the S&P daily. So we have a trend is to the downside. Okay, so that this suggested operation yet will be to the downside in this case, but it's still it's not it's not started yet, and we see strong persistence to the downside. Yes, so daily time frame we are moving to the downside, and all these today all these statistics will increase probably. So we have now more weight for the bears than for the bulls based on the dashboard. And we change to the intraday time frame. Again, we have a overall trend to the downside. Yeah, we're entry point in 3106. So what is the point? So this operation was already triggered, and we have the first take profit in 3097. Okay, let's go to see gold now before ending. So Mari is asking. So we have the first day in 3097. So so the first take profit was already triggered too. Okay, so we enter here and we take the first one there. So perfectly fine. So we have another good position in the S&P. Okay, those are good news. And what is the trend for the 4 hours? Downside. Okay, so in all these time frames that we just review, the movement is to the downside, and probably now we are correcting the sequence of higher degree, but we need to wait, for example, weekly time frame, monthly time frame, we need to wait still for more confirmations before talking about correction in the higher degree. In the biggest degree, it could be weekly or monthly. Okay, but something started now. On Friday, we will get an extra hint of what is happening, and this could be this potential corrective sequence of higher degree. Okay, Mari is asking for the gold. Another nice to see the gold. We have a strong movement to the upside, yes? So I'm curious to see too. So prices in the monthly time frame are trapped in this attractor, okay, this blue area. And if you see, we have the maximum here with the price action tried to move to the next one, was not possible, so the prices are trapped here in a kind of corrective sequence. When we move to the weekly time frame, we are correcting in first instance this sequence started and finishes in this area. Okay, so we have a minimum here that is at the limit of the attractor. Yes, it's in the upper boundary, and it's within the ideal distribution of time. So this could be a minimum of a corrective sequence, and we can see a reaction to the upside now based on this weekly time frame. But let's go to move to the daily to get clear exactly how these sequences are being built. And really we have chance of these sequences end and increase the chances of being in a new sequence to new highs. Keep in mind this key level 1529.50 in the weekly time frame. At the moment that we see the break of this level, then that means that we open the next bullish attractor, and prices should be moving first to this area in 1590. Okay, we have to check trend for the gold and weekly. Okay, asking for the Nasdaq to. Okay, in the weekly time frame this is quite clearly saying stay out. Okay, we see a sideways trend, and that is something most of the investors, in some cases traders, don't keep in mind, because you always will have three kind of trends: upward, downward, and sideways. Yes, and sideways used to be the biggest one in weight always. So in this case, we are sideways. There is no trend at this moment at the weekly time frame in the gold. What happened at daily? At daily, we have slightly to the downside. So the overall trend is downtrend. Okay, with negative speed. Yes, slightly stronger the bears here in the statistic, but we have persistent to the upside. Okay, so but the overall trend is to the downside daily. Intra. Okay, so the recommendation stay out because the possible uptrend shows some signs of weakness. Okay, and we will see why now, because this can be explained because of the sequences. So we have this movement to the upside now happening, but if we check the sequences, we have one sequence to the downside, one corrective, but this one, this low, didn't reach the attractor. Okay, the sequence could be finished, yeah, but the probabilities at this moment that this sequence is finished are low or are lower. Okay, because ideally price should reach this area before starting on a new sequence to the upside or a corrective sequence. Okay, so that's why we prefer in these cases saying stay out to get more clarity or that the prices are moving out this range area. Okay, that is not developing any kind of trend, and we can see this here too. Okay, and if we go to the intraday, although we can see, okay, strong movement to the upside, it broke the key level in 1471, so it's not a corrective sequence of this. That's why we reached the first attractor. And now the sequence, if we go to the algorithm, will show this sequence at this moment. Okay, so this will be updated. We will see this 3 movement sequence, and now the prices continue in this non-trend zone. It's not a strong trend yet, and we can have a corrective sequence. Prices will stay in this range, and then is when we will define if we go to the downside or we go to the upside. Okay, that's what could happen with the gold at this moment. But this moment is really strong, was very fast. Was at this moment too fast. Yeah, so unreached the attractor, so we can expect probably a corrective sequence before continue to movement to the upside or align with the previous trend, the long-term trend that was saying that we should be continue moving to the downside. Okay. Perfect. Any view on a particular stock or sector? What I was saying, respecting, we don't have time to see Nasdaq, Regan. Sorry. In the next webinar, I promise you we can just review Nasdaq, but it's easy. Nasdaq has a very high correlation with the S&P and with the Dow Jones. So what you see in these two in the indices is reflected in the Nasdaq too. Yeah, so if you start seeing some movement to the downside, some reaction in the Nasdaq wouldn't be different. Yeah, in the bigger picture. Let me just open just to have an idea. Nasdaq. Yeah, you see, if practically it's like exactly as the same as we saw in the S&P. Yeah, you can extrapolate the analysis for the Nasdaq. The reaction is practically the same. Yeah, I will put a clear screen. Okay, this is a massive movement to the downside. Okay, keep this image in your mind, and I will switch to the S&P. It's practically the same. Yeah. So by now we are developing a new correction in giants. Yeah, could be the correction in these higher degrees. We can see now probably the beginning of the correction of the sequences in the monthly time frame. Yeah, we're talking about the big sequences. And this could take a long time to correct it. So we have here in the monthly time frame the time expected if really this is a correction. The correction should be finishing between, this is May 2022 and this is June 2026. Keep in mind we're talking about a big degree. Yes, to build this sequence, this took us 10 years. Okay, so the corrective sequence will be in line with this movement to the upside. Okay, so we are talking about 2022. Okay, 2 years at least that we can see a corrective sequence. That is what could be this crash that we were expecting since the beginning of this year. And we were hearing a lot of news, and even this movement, many experts in the field were pointing this movement as the beginning of the crash. Okay, and it's the same that is happening in Nasdaq and Dow Jones too. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the last part of this webinar. I really like it. How are you participating? It's super nice. When you are in a crash, Neil, it's a crash for everyone. Yes, if you are looking for a safe haven, maybe you can move to gold. Maybe you can move to a specific sector. But when the things are wrong for most of the companies. Yeah, maybe you can move to blue chips to get some safe long-term investments. Yeah, but it's kind of difficult. In this case, the best is not stick to the traditional investing, just to buy shares and keep the shares. Yes, it's go more to leverage market and futures and being able to operate against the bullish trend. Yeah, operating in the short positions too. That is what most of the brokers offer. So yes, so in this case, we could say, okay, if you invest with this kind of product, then a crash could be a big opportunity for you. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the line. Okay, this slide. Okay, Bumblebee. So this is our first artificial intelligence commercial. Yes, so we are offering this to the clients, and it's operating only with one pair. This is the pound dollar. Why? Because this artificial intelligence was set with the pound dollar behavior. So that's why it's only operating with one, and we are running now the test with the dollar Shen, and we will continue running setting the Bumblebee for a different instrument based on the behavior of that instrument. We will make the try and we will show the result always. So in this case, in the last 2 months, we have, let me just go to the pen, one position that was negative. Okay, the rest of the positions were with profits. All the transactions generated were with profits. So we had from a gross profit of 10,000. Okay, this is euros, one loss, and what is net profit is 65,000 approx euros. Okay, what I really like of this artificial intelligence really works when there is a strong trend in the pound dollar. If not, really, it's not a setting operations. It stays out of the market, and that is what it gives this nice statistics. So we are talking about that the profit trade operation in this case are 80%, 0.95. This is really good. Consecutive wins, have 6 consecutive wins. So it's really good, and consecutive losses only 1. Okay, and if we check all the development, we have this operation that was negative, and these small negatives are a stop loss after take profit that are close. Okay, so this is a small difference that could be caused by the spread of the broker. Yeah, but are not real negative operation or grown transactions in this case. So really, really, really good. So we are talking about a profitability around, if my memory is right, 28% in the last 2 months. So this is really good. In 2 months has a profitability of, in this case, an annual profitability of an investment fund. Okay, so that is really, really, really good. And it's open to you if you want to invest here with the Bumblebee. It's open to you. You can invest your savings, and you can put it in the account with your broker. Yeah, it's available with copy trading system. So that is how much the fees is 10%, okay, of your profit. If you don't have profit, there are no fees. Yeah, but we can discuss that through email. But it's 10% of we charge in a quarterly basis. Okay, of the profit generated by Bumblebee. If you continue trading by yourself in your account, it's okay. Thank you. This is very impressive. Yeah, we are super happy. How much is the minimum capital for? Okay, we start with suggest start with $1,000 or euros in the account, so that way the algorithm can work perfectly fine. And then it's in your account. You have the ownership of your money. We don't control absolutely nothing, as it is copy trading. So the operation will be duplicated in your platform under your authorization. Okay. How much to get started with it? $1,000 ideally, or euros. How much can you repeat again? What do you mean with that, Ahmed? With how much? Yeah, thousand is the idea that we should suggest. Yes, you can start with a small amount, and then based on you, if you want, you can increase the amount there in your account, put your savings there, have your portfolio managed part with the Bumblebee and part by you. That's perfectly fine. You can withdraw, you can deposit when you wish. Yeah, so it's only we will send you we will set the copy trading in your account. Okay. No, you need to buy nothing in this case, because what is the way we want to really approach this is we want to stop with in the way that the industry is offering the product to all the clients that really don't like it. It's like a gambling thing that really we really in the financial forecast don't agree with it. And this is we will get profit if you get profit, as simple as that. Yeah, with any broker. Yeah, but what you need, yes, is a MetaTrader 4 platform, so we can connect the master account with your account. Minimum capital $1,000 or euros. Yep. Okay, perfect. So send me an email. So it's important if you are interested on this. Let me just go to the next slide. So we are really happy with Bumblebee. We are with the dollar yen now, testing it. If everything is okay, we will add this to the portfolio. How much to start is $1,000 or euros, and then what is the fee is 10% in a quarterly basis, only in the profitability that Bumblebee gets in your account. Okay, if you get zero profitability, we will charge zero fees. Yeah, that's super important. Yeah, that's it. That's the idea. We will create a portfolio with Bumblebee as the same as we have a portfolio in the semi-automatic portfolio. In case of loss, no, we charge nothing. In case of loss, if you lose, we lose too. So we don't want you losing money. Yeah, the idea is that you even can use this kind of savings, okay, of investing as a retirement plan if you want, and you can use your account to deposit small amounts every month. You start with 1,000, you can deposit, for example, $100 every month if you are able to do that, because you are interested on building like a retirement plan, and you get the profitability of the Bumblebee that now is 20%, and you will get more profitability than that banks will offer to you. Okay? Questions? You want to try it? Anything? So we have set the Bumblebee now with Axie Trader. Yeah, but we will extend the Bumblebee in other brokers, but that is independent of your account, of your broker. Yeah, for example, if you have FXCM, it's perfectly fine. If you have MetaTrader 4, so that way we are able to bridge the master account to your account. Yeah, always what you need is MetaTrader. Yeah, if you have that, it's easy to build a bridge, so you get access to the transaction generated by Bumblebee. Yeah. So the mentorship depends, Roxanne, of what is your interest in. What I used to do with the mentorship is first have an interview one-to-one with the person interested in this. In this case, you. I want to know you a little more. I want to see really what is your aim. What do you want to learn? Based on that, I create a program, and based on the program, I will send you a proposal to you. Okay, and with that, we study the availability, payment, how can you pay this, different kind of things. So that way we can reach an agreement and you can start with your studies. Yeah, but this is 100% personal. It's a very good question. I need to check with the broker, Neil. If you are in Asia, there are some countries in Asia that have restrictions. So I'm not 100% sure. You need to tell me your country, and I need to check with one of the brokers we have agreements. You can ask everything via email about Bumblebee, about mentorship, about the doubts. So it's perfectly fine. South Africa, I need to check, really. I know that Europe is okay. I know that some countries in Latin America too, but I need to check. I think South Africa is okay. What I think is not able is Nigeria or other countries within Africa, but I think South Africa is okay. Yeah. India, yeah, India is perfectly fine. No problem. You're welcome, Roxanne. It's my pleasure, really. I'm super thankful to all of you that really participate and get this dynamic in the webinar. It's super nice. So I'm super happy with you. Thanks a lot for that. Contact me, please, at info@thefinancialforecast.com. Oh, you're welcome, Regan. Yes, send me an email here. I will solve questions and I will try to send an answer as fast as I can. I invite you to continue visiting the financialforecast.com. We have a lot of content in the site. Even we will publish the performance of Bumblebee. Thank you, Neil. That's the idea. So in the financialforecast.com, you will have educational, so you can go to the mentorship. For example, what about Bitcoin? It's a very good question. Okay, so quick view about Bitcoin. So what happened with Bitcoin, and we will just check this weekly chart. When you see Bitcoin in the weekly time frame, you can see that it's sideways. But something that is nice or is hopeful about Bitcoin is that you have a low at this moment happening inside this idea, this distribution area. Sorry. What we need to see from here is a bounce. If the bounce doesn't happen and the price challenge and break this level of 5,646, then we will see new lows in Bitcoin. In the meantime, if this level stays safe and we have a reaction to the upside, then we can start thinking on a new bullish sequence. At this moment, not. Why? Because it's totally sideways and it's extremely volatile. Okay, so let me just go to let's go to Bitcoin is super volatile. I see really like the crypto world, not all the crypto world, but yes, Bitcoin, for example, Ripple, as very, very strong tools that will be used or will get the value and the not safety. It will reduce the volatility and will become more consistent with the time. When people really absorb the importance of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, yes, how uh, this tool really can help banks as everything that is information data. If we think the amount of transactions with Bitcoin are not high, but with Ripple you can create a lot of transactions per minute. It's crazy how many transactions, how the information can flow from one point to another, how safe the environment and the information is. So really it's a strong tool. But we need more time, we need more law, more regulations regarding Bitcoin, Ripple, and all this crypto. But I see a nice potential in this, really. Bitcoin weekly. So the dashboard is strong to the downside at this moment in the weekly time frame. That's why it's important based on sequence see a reaction to the upside. And that is when this negative arrow, this arrow to the downside, will start just changing. Okay, but we need to see strong reaction and being consistent in building up this movement to the upside. Yeah, Bitcoin is not being consistent at this moment in the creation of this movement to the upside. That's why we're saying all the time, yeah, this is moving up, but then we have the correction, yeah, so the strong movement to the downside. If we go to the daily time frame, daily, okay, it's to the downside, but it's less strong, okay, but we still see movements to the downside, or sorry, trend to the downside, and in a daily, in an intraday, it's the same, okay. At this moment, the key level is around 1625. Yes, it is a trigger for setting an operation to the downside. Yes, a short position. But I like to see this picture. I like to see the price action just located in this area. Yes, and I think that we can have a reaction to, at the moment we see a reaction to the upside, then the picture and the sentiment around Bitcoin can change. Okay, at this moment by now, sideways. Yeah, I must register. Yeah, if you want to see the dashboard, the way to see the dashboard is getting the mentorship or getting the what is the Bumblebee. Yes, you will have access to all the member area. Yeah. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, perfectly, Niels. You can contact me, so you have the email info@thefinancialforecast.com. Yeah. Okay, so in the website you have the blog. If you want to see some articles, I used to write English, Spanish. Yeah, you will see both languages in the content. Interesting for you, people that is curious about what could happen with the American economy. You have this one. How is the American economy reaching the ceiling? So we have nice analysis there. What's happening with Bitcoin? This long-term picture. Okay, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter. Okay, videos about why the financial market can be predicted. We go through this concept of fractal, how you should be managing your account, your money, how you should be proceeding with the money management to don't lose all the money, because nobody really is teaching how to do this. Okay, how to plan, how to be prepared. That's really important. And more content. Yes, so you will have a lot of content here. And that's all for today. So we will be doing another webinar during next month, in a month. Okay, so I hope to see you, all of you there. You can contact me at info@thefinancialforecast.com. and I will solve all the doubts that you could have. And if you want to go, you want to know more about mentorship, you want to know more about Bumblebee, just you can write a question there, and I will support you. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful week, excellent month, and see you in probably 30 days. Okay? Thank you. Have a nice. Bye.